Hello and welcome to My Career in Data, a podcast where we discuss with industry leaders and experts how they have built their careers. I'm your host, Shannon Kemp, and today we're talking to Emily Washington at Precisely.
Visit dataversity.net and expand your knowledge with thousands of articles and blogs written by industry experts, plus free live and on-demand webinars covering the complete data management spectrum. While you're there, subscribe to the weekly newsletter so you'll never miss a beat.
Hello and welcome. My name is Shannon Kemp and I'm the Chief Digital Officer at Dataversity, and this is My Career in Data, a Dataversity Talks podcast dedicated to learning from those who have careers in data management, to understand how they got there, and to be talking with people who help make those careers a little bit easier. To keep up to date in the latest in data management education, go to dataversity.net/subscribe. Today, we are joined by Emily Washington, the Senior Vice President of Product Management at Precisely. And normally, this is where a podcast host would read a short bio of the guest, but in this podcast, your bio is what we're here to talk about. Emily, hello and welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me.
So you're the Senior Vice President of Product at Precisely. So tell me, what is Precisely and what is it that you do?
Sure, yes. So Precisely is a technology and services provider. We provide a combination of software, data, as well as strategic services to really help organizations ensure the utmost data integrity. We are a leader in data integrity. We have over 12,000 customers. And the way we define data integrity is ensuring the accuracy, consistency, and context of data. So through a combination of all these things, and obviously a lot of what I'm expecting we're going to talk about today, that's the world I live in. I get to drive the product strategy and the roadmaps for the capabilities that we bring to market through particularly focused on data quality, data governance, and master data management, as well as I get the pleasure of being able to work with taking our portfolio of products across Precisely to more of a SaaS model. So being able to support our customers in this journey to leveraging, some of the newer technologies out there. So I drive product management for all those areas.
Very cool. So we'll come back to a bit about how you're working with data, but tell me a little bit. So when you were in elementary school, when you were very young and is this what you wanted to be when you grew up? Like, was this the dream? I'm going to be a senior vice president of product at Precisely.
No, far from it. And actually, it took me all the way through to, I don't know about you, but even just going through all the way to university, you have this idea in your head. I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to, and it was one of those things. I always admired my teachers in elementary school, and I thought it was just so fun to be able to work with kids all day and be able to teach them. So I actually went to school to become a teacher. And then as I got through university, I started to bring more focus to English literature. I have a passion for reading, and I really wanted to. By that point, I was thinking, okay, high school English teacher, that's what I wanted to do. And I ended up working for a .com during that whole era in Silicon Valley as a job while I was going to school. And that's how I got into technology and and how it kind of went from here. So it was definitely nothing I sought out to do. If you were to have asked me then, if this is what I would be doing, I would have thought you were crazy. So it's been quite the journey.
Oh, I love hearing people's initial passions, right? It's so interesting. So tell me then, so you got into this .com job.
Yep.
So how did you transition then from that and, wanting to be a teacher and to where you are today?
Yeah. So when I started working for this website, and I worked in customer support, and obviously there's a lot of technology behind that. So I started to work with developers and web designers, and the technology aspects really interested me. So as I went through, and I was wrapping up getting my degree in English Lit, I also was working at that organization, and like the like the tale that many of us have. The .com, ended up folding, and I ended up getting laid off, and that's what led me to technology. I from there I went to a couple of organizations focusing on software providers, but my journey to data and how I got into data integrity and the things I do today, it evolved from, starting at software organizations doing reporting and a lot of more administrative capabilities for, our development organization. And then, just learning more about what you could do with data and how, software can support that. How do you automate things? We use our spreadsheets and, manual documents and all those sorts of things. And I just had this passion for, figuring out ways to automate some of those activities. And so I landed at another company where we were focused on data quality and data governance. And I have been with that company since. So Precisely acquired the company I had come from back in 2021. And so I've been with the variations of Precisely for 20 years now. So I just worked my way into various roles to how I got here.
Well, that's exciting. And it must have been really exciting to be in the heart of it, at the
Yes.
Silicon Valley, as it started to
It was
explode.
that energy, and even, some of the things that we see today with technology and just all the innovations that constantly come out to make data better, there's so many interesting things that we're always able to do. And so the energy just in this space is what just drives me to want to do more and learn more. And, and I end up getting, new opportunities, which has been really fun. So.
Oh, I love that. So do you currently use your education and teaching skills then in what you're currently doing?
I have always said it. I always try to tell my parents this, what did you get that English literature degree for? And it's the communication skills. So regardless of what role you are in an organization, I feel like communication is key. So while I can't directly apply what I learned about Shakespeare to my data management job today, what I do bring with me is just the communication, being able to understand where people are coming from. One of the things that I love about my job is just how do we problem solve? How can I bring solutions to our customers that it just helps them make their jobs easier and, be able to focus on the things that matter. And so being able to listen, be able to clearly articulate what we're trying to do, and I really attribute that to just that background that I have, that love for communication, as a part of what I do today.
It makes so much sense and so important. And I love that you have a passion around automation. As that resonates very well with me. I love efficiency and automation.
Yeah.
And
I mean, imagine all the time we wasted with our spreadsheets and the frustrations. Yeah. And so, there's got to be easier ways to do this.
Yeah.
With a robust catalog of courses offered on demand and industry-leading live online sessions throughout the year, the Dataversity Training Center is your launchpad for career success. Browse the complete catalog at training.dataversity.net and use code DVTalks for 20% off your purchase.
I love it. So tell me, what is your definition of data and how are you working with it today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my definition of data, I don't know if it's oversimplified, but it's just a collection of attributes to allow me to, get insights into, information that I need to be able to solve problems, and so I do, when I think about data specifically, it really is, those specific elements, but the combination of those is what gives us the information to make those decisions. And so, in my role, I get the pleasure of dealing with data from two different perspectives. Obviously there's the products that we deliver. And so a lot of what I focus on is, trying to better data quality processes, implement better data governance programs in a more automated fashion, but also for me personally and my role and how I make these products better is, the data that we use with our, understanding our customers' information and, everything from the customer satisfaction to all of the metrics that we have around, how our business is growing. And so, being able to, it's an interesting thing for me because I take some of those frustrations and those things that I do with my own data and apply that to how we get to develop solutions for our customers. And so, at the end of the day, whether it's Precisely or Dataversity, we're all dealing with data every day. And so, I get to kind of deal with it on both sides to see if there's better ways to do things when it comes to data.
I like it a lot. That's very, very interesting. And so as you're working with data, especially with the, touch point with so many customers, do you see the importance of data and data management, the importance of data management and the number of jobs working with data increasing or decreasing over the next 10 years, and why?
Good question. Yeah, no, that's and it's an important question because I think there's a lot of things that we've implemented over the years to make data processes better or to make data more available to users across the industry. But one of the things that I think that the jobs will increase, but the way that the jobs are, the types of jobs that are needed are going to evolve. You look at some of the automation tasks, at the end of the day, I always look at it as, the intent here is not it's not to replace jobs with tools. It's more about how do you make those jobs more efficient and focus on the true analysis, not having to fix the problems or be able to manipulate data to get it to the point that you need. Those pieces should be easy. Now, what can you do with it? What insights can you derive? So I think the roles in data are going to continue to increase, but it's going to continue to take different forms as we keep going and as more automation is built in.
Oh, that makes so much sense. And what advice would you give to people looking to get into a career in data management?
Yeah, one of the things that, you asked me at the beginning, is this what I sought out to do? And, one of the things that I realized naturally is just that love of information. I am just curious. And, one of the things that worked for me is, just being able to better understand any data that's in front of me and taking ideas to, folks that I worked with or for, or, I've always had a nice support system in terms of, collaborating with others around data. I think everyone is hungry for more insights. And so, whether you're on the technology side of things, or you're a business person who's looking to gain more insights to drive more intelligence and come to those decision-making abilities, it's really about just inserting yourself and being curious and trying to get more sense out of the data that you are looking at, because everyone is trying to get those insights. And so I have found whether it's me, my personal experience, or working with different people across organizations, it's just that collaboration, getting your hands dirty, if you will, around the data that's available to you and being able to drive those insights. And then what happens is, maybe more questions come up, and then you have this ability to get more into other programs or other projects that involve data. And so, it doesn't really matter where you're coming at it from. My experience alone, I was just doing reporting for our engineering team, and I was curious why we had so many bugs, and and so then I start to recommend some new ideas, and that's what got the ball rolling for me in getting more and more into data management and a lot of the things that I get to do now.
That's such great advice. And it seems to be a running theme that we seem to come across with a lot of the people that I've been interviewing, is being curious,
Mm-hmm.
and it's okay to be curious. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay
Yep.
to not know.
I
Yeah.
really do think people appreciate when you bring those questions up.
Mhm.
It because just as much as we're curious, we're also wanting to help one another, so if you're on the receiving end of that curiosity or question, that ability to help someone and start to work together, that's what triggers all these great ideas and these projects that we can keep working on, because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to improve the way we work with data, and there's multiple ways. And the great thing is more and more individuals across the organization have that opportunity. That's also why I think the number of jobs will continue to increase. It used to be more of an IT centric role. Now, regardless of who you are in the organization, you hear so much about data first, and we're a data driven company, and so everyone has a role or part to play in how we work with data, how we make data better, and ultimately drive those efficiencies and business decisions we're getting at.
That's so true. So many jobs, no matter what the title, includes working with data now.
Exactly. And that's what I love about this space. It's just so it's so fun to look at any role in the organization, and when you think about that definition of data, it's a bunch of attributes. It's but regardless of who you are in the organization, you're always looking at it. You always need to rely on it to do your job, and so how do we just make that better? So
yeah, so true. I think one of the favorite parts of my job is, we get to work with every industry
yeah,
across the globe.
yeah.
And to your point about data people and answering those questions of curiosity, I have found the data community to be so supportive of each other
Yes.
and loving. And like you're talking about, just loving to network and loving to help each other out and lift each other up. It's just really an amazing space
and
to be.
there's so many lessons learned. You look at the different industries and the different geographic regions, and there's ways that we've all gotten to where we are, and there's certain drivers for implementing certain types of programs or efficiencies, and so learning from each other and how we've done that, and take some of those best practices, whether it be from a certain industry or certain type of organization to another. I think we're all just so hungry to figure out there's got to be an easy button for some of this stuff. Like there's got to be an easier way.
So when you're looking and you're curious about automation, is there a kind of a thought process, a standard thought process that you go through, or is there, how do you discover those things to automate?
Yeah, it depends on, when you think about the different types of capabilities associated with data management, or in my case, data integrity, where we're focused on, improving the accuracy of data, it depends on the use case, right? I mean, we'll take data quality as an example. I think there's these general assumptions that, it should be easy to recommend where you need data quality based on historical patterns. And while that is true, it should be easy, and there are ways to do that. A lot of and there's amazing technologies out there to be able to drive that automation, but you're never going to get rid of the true human in the loop aspect of it. There's always going to be some level of intervention to make sure that that this is right, and that's where I think the automation with the users who are actually working with that data really complement each other. So when I think about improving the automation, again, it's taking out some of the repeatability, some of those tasks that are really repeatable. You can do that a lot, and also point, let's say machine learning, AI, to that ability to recommend based on the historical behavior. But it's the behavior of also the users. We have so much like historical knowledge built up in our heads and how we've done these things in the past, like data quality initiative. How many times have we had to quickly fix an issue and then you move on to the next one? So how do we start to capture that to make the automation smarter? So I look for those types of use cases where you can start to see, where we are storing certain types of user behavior and information, or build those repeatable tasks. And so, that's it. That's one from a data quality standpoint. And when I look at a data governance, which is much more cultural process, there's other dimensions to implementing the data governance program. That's where, automation is more about, how do you surface the right information to the right people at the right time? And, how do you build automation to improve some of those activities? So it's a little bit of a long-winded answer, but, it really does depend on the use case, I think. And, there's different approaches that you can take.
Very nice. Well, Emily, I really like your story, and I don't want to like oversimplify it, but we're finding these themes in this podcast of following passion and being curious. Is just and being willing to learn new things and explore new things. Just as you're talking about, you wanted to go and be a teacher, and then you found this path that led you to data, and you just dove into it. It's really great.
And I wouldn't have it any other way. I love it. And, it is one of those things where, the job is never done.
Right.
When you think about data and all the opportunities we have, there's always room for improvement. And so, it's a fun place to be.
Indeed. And like you said, those soft skills, the communication skills are so important. It's not just about crunching the numbers. It's not just about, it's about being able to communicate the data that you're looking at. Yeah. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't ask, if somebody's interested in Precisely, how do they find Precisely and what you guys do?
Yeah, feel free to go to our website at www.precisely.com. And we are so excited to work with our customers. We're just about to, kick off a number of efforts here. We just had a big release. So there's a lot of cool things going on with our organization right now. So would love to chat with you.
Congrats and exciting.
Thank you. Yeah. Good stuff.
Very nice. And we'll be sure to put it on the podcast page, the links for that, so everyone can reach out.
Thank you.
Well, Emily, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I love talking about data. So thank you for having me. Such a great opportunity, and love the work that Dataversity does. I'm always following you. It's a great, place to learn about data. So love it.
Thanks so much. Really appreciate that. So, and thank you again so much. And to all of our listeners out there, if you want to keep up to date on the latest podcasts and the latest in data management education, go to dataversity.net/subscribe. Until next time. Thank you for listening to Dataversity Talks, a podcast brought to you by Dataversity. Subscribe to our newsletter for podcast updates and information about our free educational webinars at dataversity.net/subscribe.